Hey everybody, I'm Alex, or Victory for Phil from the community, and today we're going to be diving into the brand new detector introduced in version 1.1 of Doge CV, the generic detector. Now, the generic detector is a very basic and rudimentary detector that is also very customizable. The goal of this is to allow users a very basic starting point into detecting their very own objects that aren't already covered into Doge CV. Now, it does this by having the user provide basic information about the object they want to detect, such as area, ratio, and color. Now, by the way, we use color using our new color filter API. If you want to see information on that, either see the tutorial if it's up or the wiki on our GitHub page available. Links in the description below. For the record, yes, the wiki is now being updated. So now we have a full rundown of every detector and the color filter API. But back to the topic at hand. Now, for this example, we're actually going to be making a relic detector using this generic detector. So let's just dive in. Now, as we code this, you're going to notice it looks very similar to the jewel detector, which is actually what it's based off of. It's just a stripped down version of the jewel detector. So we're going to start off by making a variable called generic detector, as we do with every other Doge CV detector. And now, before we start initializing it and setting all our parameters, we're going to quickly look at what a relic looks like. So this is the test image we're going to be using. I'm going to zoom in. As we can see, it's yellow. That's pretty obvious. And the main thing you want to really look at is ratio. Now, ratio is the ratio of height and width, or width or height. It just takes the max value. So in this case, it's about 2 times taller than it is wide. So we'll use a ratio of around 2, probably like 1.8, 1.9. And it's yellow. That's pretty much the two things we want to look at. You can adjust area, which for this case, we're probably just going to use max area mode. Again, I'll go over that as soon as we get to it. So let's over here and start initializing it. So first things first, let's just do init. It's going to ask for context, which is just type in hardware map.app context, and a camera view display. You can just type in camera view display. Camera view display.get instance. Okay, and then we can first dive into the color filter. Now we have a brand new color filter API, which lets you pre-choose from any color filters available. In this case, Levi provided us with a really good yellow color detector that detects the relic perfectly. So we're just going to go ahead and use that. But if you want more information about color detectors, again, see either the tutorial or the wiki. So for this, we're just going to set the color preset for his filter to yellow. And voila, the detector will now detect anything yellow. Now for this, we are going to downscale. What downscale means is we're not going to process the image at its full resolution. We're going to process it at a different one. This helps performance. For this, we're just going to use 0. Let's make this kind of a very fast detector, so let's do 0.4. Which means it will downscale it to 0.4 of the original value. That's what, I don't want to do math off the top of my head. It's 40% of the original image size. Okay. Next thing we're going to set is the detection mode. Now there's 2 modes for this. There is perfect area, which you have to predefine the area of the relic relative to your camera's screen. Now this works for jewels, since jewels are almost always the exact same distance away from your camera, but relics may be at different spots in the field. So we're actually just use max area, which means it finds the biggest object. Okay, next up we're going to define a minimum area. Just filters out all the small objects in the scene. For this, we're just going to do 700 is usually a good number for this. If you're noticing your relic's not being detected when your camera's kind of far away, you can go ahead and set this to a lower value. Please note, though, that downscale factor will affect this. Pretty much the higher your downscale factor, the higher this should be, the lower this should be, because there's less pixels, which means the areas are lower values. Okay, now comes the real fun. We're going to do perfect ratio. Now this means, what's the ratio of the object? In this case, we said it's about 2, maybe like 1.9, so we're just going to use 1.9. And I think this should actually work. We're going to go ahead, and when we do init, we're just actually going to start it immediately, just so we can see it. Let me just quickly go through the other options to see what's available, but overall this should, oh yes, stretching. Now, we actually do offer a setting called stretching, which is almost kind of like a blur, but it just stretches the image. In this case, on a lot of the relics, if you go just Google them, I had in my Google search here somewhere. Well, if you just Google FTC Relic Recovery Relic, you can go to images. You'll notice that there is a blue stripe, and what stretching will do is take our mask that we make using the color filter and kind of just stretch it in any direction. It's a really rudimentary hack to covering gaps like this. I used it in CryptoBlocks back in the day. But for this, I think we'll be fine doing it. So we're going to stretch it vertically. And we're going to go ahead and do this by enabling stretch. Equals to 2. Note that stretch actually does hurt your performance quite significantly, so be careful with it. And we're going to set the kernel. Now what a kernel is kind of the shape we want to stretch it. So in this case, we're going to do a new size. It's a size variable. I'm going to do like 5 width and a height of, let's say like 50. Which means we're going to stretch it horizontally a little bit, but really stretch it vertically to try to cover up that blue line. Okay, even though his filter may actually really help with this. Okay, I believe that is it. So we can go ahead and just build this to the phone. Okay, everybody, we're back. And as you can see, we now can see our phone screen. I'm going to go ahead and get a test image. We're going to use a couple of these, actually. So let me just get a couple of nice test images for us to use. And okay. So, as we can see the phone screen. And I'm going to select, what do we name our op mode? Gen Detector. I'm going to select Gen Detector on the phone screen. And we're going to initialize it. And as you can see, it should be used in landscape since we didn't rotate it. If you do have your phone in portrait, just set rotate matte equals to true. That's also seen in our wiki. But okay, moment of truth. We're going to hold it up to our relic, and it's detecting it. As you can see, it's drawing a box around the relic. And the number on top is the score. Lower is better. So in this case, it's negative 30. That means we got a pretty good match. All our settings are pretty good if it's giving us a low value. Okay, so let's try another image. As you can see, we're detecting it pretty far away. If we go up to it, it's detecting the image. And if we try with the blue stripe, now we can test if our stretching was working. And it was. So if you notice, if you get really up close to it, it'll start splitting it in half if we didn't set our stretch high enough. Which in this case, it looks like we did. So yeah, that's how you can make a very basic detector using the brand new generic detector. In this case, also how to make a relic detector on your own. In the next tutorials, we will go into the jewel detector. Have a good day. A quick note, as I was editing this, I forgot to actually show you how to get data back from this, which I always seem to forget. And that's very simple. You just want to go down into your loop or anywhere in your autonomous, anywhere you're actually doing this, you want to type in .get. You can usually do .get for all the detectors, and that kind of lists all the stuff that's available. In this, we can get found, which is if the object you're searching for was actually found. You also have get the location, which will just give the center point of the rectangle, pretty much the location of the object, and get the rectangle. Now get rectangle gets the full rectangle, so that's the x coordinate, which is top left, the y coordinate of the top left, the width, the height, and I believe you can even get the area of it. You can get a lot of values for the rectangle. So, if you want more data, use get rect, else get location is usually what you want. I do recommend putting all of this inside of an if statement for get found, because these values do get set to null if they're not found, and that could mess up your code. So definitely surround it in an if statement for get found. Okay, anyways, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you in the next one.